Hey there, Bear Club! At the Mama Bear Initiative, we explore how to protect ourselves so we can protect our cubs, the people who depend on us. Join us and get the confidence you need to stay safe, make good choices, and protect yourself and those you care about. Let's go!
Okay. I don't know if we should confess or not that this is our second attempt at recording this.
I think honesty, they say honesty is the best policy, so,
Yeah, we actually did record last week, but we watched it and we're like, there's so many issues. Like there was an echo and Rochelle brought it up and then Evelyn heard it and then I heard it and then we were talking about it. And then Rochelle's sinuses were totally uncooperative.
Yes, they were.
And and we're just like I listened to it first because I usually do the editing the next day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm listening to it and about halfway through it, I'm like, guys, this really sucks.
It's not good. Not good.
I think you need to listen to it and let's consider re-recording. So
yeah,
here we are attempting
getting up and sorry.
We had to tell Rochelle to go blow her nose.
Yes.
Have her leave and come back. They got sneezing. It was just the whole thing. Yeah.
And she was like back there. You could still hear her blowing her nose. And it was just too many things. Sometimes we have a couple of things. That's like, that's okay.
Yeah, getting over.
It was just.
It was all the things.
It was all the things.
I was getting over cold still and allergies and just a lot going on.
We just ticked all the this is too much boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty quirky and stuff, but that was too much quirk.
We overquirked.
Way too much quirk.
We overquirked.
So we decided to spare you.
Too much quirkiness.
We're trying again. So welcome to our podcast. We've decided to change the name of the podcast to Trauma Recovery Out Loud. So welcome to our Trauma Recovery Out Loud podcast. I'm Stephanie Dunham.
I'm Evelyn Mason.
I'm Rochelle Knapp.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about facing reality.
Yes.
That I am disabled. My PTSD makes me disabled. Yeah. And Evelyn said she looked up disability.
Oh.
So do you want to define what we mean when we say disability?
So I have my handy.
Taking off my glasses.
Oh, yes. And then we become blobs.
We're blobs now.
It's all blob.
It's all blobs
in front of me.
Okay, let's see. Let me actually I kind of dug into it. Okay, hold on. I also looked up, can mental illness be a disability? So, okay, let me go back to disability. A physical or mental condition that limits a person's movements, senses, or activities. So that's like a basic dictionary definition.
Right, stopping you from doing something.
Yeah, it's preventing you from doing, I guess, what a person would normally do if they didn't have whatever this issue is.
Yeah, we don't have physical disabilities, but we do have. I mean, I've been diagnosed with PTSD, but it should be complex PTSD.
Yeah,
it's not in the DSM as far as I know. But that's really a more accurate description.
Yeah.
And I asked a therapist once if I would be considered disabled with PTSD, and she told me yes.
Yeah.
But mainly it's based on my lack of cognitive functioning. Like what sorts of things happen throughout my day.
Right. Yeah, and how you respond to them and what a quote unquote normal brain would do in terms of like reaction, and somebody who has complex PTSD probably doesn't have the same ability to function through stress.
Right.
It doesn't have the same ability to function through stress in the way that I guess there's some sort of standard that's been set for that, but I don't know of many people that follow it or know it or can do it, because it seems like everybody has some kind of trauma going on, whether complex or not. But I'm sure it affects depending on how complex and deep it is, it probably affects your brain to some degree. And having observed people for many years and the way they respond to trauma, stress, I can see that it's definitely a big issue as far as like day to day and how you handle things and or don't in some cases. It's hard to accept, but it is true that it is a disability for sure.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, I think when people talk about like depression, for example, that's so bad that you can't get out of bed, you can't go to your job, you're not eating, you're not doing personal hygiene, that kind of thing. That is what I think would qualify as being disabled. Depression is disabling you from normal activity.
Yeah.
Right.
And, when you have mental health condition, I've heard people talk about living with like a bipolar disorder or having a spouse who has bipolar disorder. And a lot of times they're saying things like, if they're in a manic episode, for example, they suddenly become like this completely different person who's doing things that are dangerous, risky, detrimental, like overspending money to a really crazy degree, drugs, illicit sex, that kind of thing.
Right.
That is also disabling. Like it takes you out of your normal functioning. It puts you in a place where now you're at risk for something.
Right.
Yeah. I know one of the things they did say about the disability is it's also not like a one-off. So, if someone, say, feels down or even depressed for a short period of time, but then pretty much they can function normally day to day. It's maybe occasionally, maybe it's once a year or, that sort of thing. But when it's pervasive, when it affects the day-to-day activity, when it doesn't go away,
when it's chronic.
There it is.
Yeah.
When it's like, I'm going to say something a little weird here. If somebody's lost a limb or part of a limb, they're chronically missing a limb.
Yes.
Right?
That's true.
So that means that they're functioning, whatever, let's say it's a leg. If they're missing part of their leg, then they're chronically unable to walk normally.
Right. It's not going to grow back. It's not going to resolve itself.
Right.
It's a permanent condition.
Or it's not like they keep their leg in their closet and occasionally they put it away and then they get it out and they use it again.
Right.
Like their actual leg, not a prosthesis.
Okay, that's really weird.
I know. Well, I'm just trying to make an analogy here, like that the people can connect to, like, So, somebody. I had an uncle who had an accident with some sort of a machine he was working with, and it took off some of his fingers. So he had one hand that was missing a lot of fingers, and so he had like a prosthesis that was like a curved pincer type of thing.
Yeah.
He could pick things up with it.
Yeah.
But he's chronically unable to use a hand because he doesn't have one or has only part of a hand.
Right. And it's not gonna change.
Right.
Right. He did wear, for one of his daughter's weddings, he wore a prosthesis hand so he would appear normal in pictures. But he's not going to wear that hand forever, and it doesn't do anything except sit on the end of his, end of his
it just looks
arm.
It looks normal, especially if you just glance. But
it looks normal.
I look normal, but on the inside,
but I'm not.
I'm a mess.
Let's talk about invisible disabilities, because that's. But it's funny because he knows it, right? He's looking at his hand. He knows he's missing fingers. He's found ways to work with that. It's funny when I let me give some context. So I have a friend who, back when he was, I think he was 17, he fell, and they, long story short, they ended up having to remove almost his entire left leg.
Mm.
And
Wow.
there for a while, it was touch and go. He was in critical condition. It was just a whole thing. And when we were able to go and visit him and talk to him about it, I said, well, what does it feel like? He said, when I stand up, it feels like my leg is like bent at the knee. Like I can feel my leg is there, but it's not there. And they talk about that, it's like a phantom limb pain. He says, I feel pain like in my leg. Then I look down and it's not there. And, and I think about that when we have like a mental health condition, you may be told that you have this problem, but it doesn't feel real. It feels like, no, it's just my leg is still there. It's just bent, But reality, you keep looking at it, and the experts are saying it, you feel a certain way, but the reality is, look, this is what's real. This is what's true. Your leg is missing. And I'm not sure if that went away. I think over time it did, like his body learned that the limb wasn't there anymore. It's funny. I wish I'd have followed up with him. I guess I still could be like, hey, haven't talked to you in a while, but
yeah, how's that phantom limb thing going?
How's that phantom limb thing? So it seems like, there, even with that sort of thing, there's still sort of a bridge to understanding and accepting, no matter what it feels like, the leg isn't there. And he would wake up and he would forget that his leg was missing.
Mm-hmm.
And then he would look down and be like, oh yeah, reality.
Yeah. And what we're trying to talk about is how we're disabled with trauma.
Yeah.
How it's permanent.
Yeah, because all of us have history is going all the way back to our youngest days, and the formation of our brains were affected by what we were experiencing, and we grew up like that, and now we're adults in our mid-50s or early to mid-50s, and there is chronic problems. Like, I'd say since I was 18, I carried a diagnosis of major depressive disorder.
Mm-hmm.
I was originally diagnosed after a head injury because the neurologist was treating me for a concussion that I had gotten. But as I was in the hospital recovering, he got wind of the fact that I was actually depressed because I had these headaches that weren't related to the head injury.
Mm-hmm.
They were probably stress-related headaches. And I got the EEG, maybe a CAT scan. I don't quite remember. Maybe an MRI. They couldn't find a reason why I had headaches. And then I started talking about my home life. And then a psychologist got involved, or a psychiatrist got involved, someone like that.
Yeah.
And that was when I was first diagnosed with major depressive disorder. And that just followed me to each new therapist that I would see, because I would go to therapists for, a couple of years. I'm good. I'm healed. Moving on. And then it would come back.
Yeah.
And then, so I don't know that I'm really that depressed anymore, but I definitely have anxiety. And just the anxiety untreated is disabling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I saw a TikToker reel or something years ago, and about what if we treated physical illness the same way we treated mental illness, being more dismissive.
Do you mean more the other way? What if we treated mental illness like we treat physical illness?
No,
you said the other thing.
If we treated mental illness, now I'm getting confused. If we treated physical illnesses the way we treat mental illness, because mental illness is generally dismissed as, like you were saying, like it's temporary, I'm moving on, it's not disabling, that kind of idea. And I was thinking about the person you talked about who doesn't have a leg. Like, their body thinks they still have a leg and they still feel it and it's still there. I completely lost track of what I was going to say, but I'll say this thing instead.
I think what you're trying to say is that we treat mental illness differently than we treat physical illness.
Yeah.
And we treat physical illness like it's a one-off because we're just sick and we get better.
Yeah.
But mental health issues tend to be more chronic depending on the reason why you have it to begin with. Is that what you're trying to get at?
Something like that, I think, but I think I got myself confused now.
Oh.
Well, I was just thinking, like, if we just told my friend, dude, just walk.
Yeah, get up and walk,
Right.
dude.
Just get up and walk.
You have one
Just
leg.
pull up, put up your bootstraps. You know, you're fine. Just walk.
Just think positively.
Just think positive.
Just think about that leg. Just manifest the leg.
Manifest the leg.
That's what I was trying to get at. Yep.
As he continues to fall on his face, you know.
Right, because he had no therapy, no prosthesis, and no help. Just get up and walk.
Let's lay hands and manifest the leg for you. And like,
let's grow that leg, buddy.
Yeah, just grow that leg. Let it appear. Like, I am sure there are miraculous things that have happened in the world through prayer, whatever. I'm sure people have stories. I've never seen one happen like that. I've never seen a limb grow or whatever, but it doesn't mean it can't happen, but it's not likely to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. What does that mean for the disabled person?
Yeah. I mean, they need to accept, I have this condition. Now, what can I do about it?
Yeah. It's, I need help.
Yeah. What is a healthy way to deal with it? Not, here, grab a limb off a tree.
Make yourself leg.
Make it work there, buddy.
Well, like an actual tree limb?
Yes.
You said that, and I was imagining legs and arms hanging off a tree.
Yes. So there's this prosthesis tree. It's got these various prosthetic limbs hanging from it. Just go pick the one that.
No, these are real life. These are real life human arms and legs. They're not prosthesis in my vision.
Oh wow!
It's not gross. They're just hanging there, waiting to be plucked and stuck on.
That's funny.
So Steph has just very beautifully illustrated why choosing the right word can be important. So grabbing a branch from a tree.
There we go. I briefly throttled that thing.
That was delightful. That was so weird. That's why she's called Weirdo.
That's why I got that nickname.
And we love her for it. But seriously, like, come on, you could make it work. Find something, you got this, buddy. And he needed some help.
Yeah, help
that acknowledged this is real, and here's a pathway that you can go on to help you address it. Because he to this day he still hasn't grown back that leg.
No, but he had to figure out how to get around, right?
Yep. And he tried different things. So there for a while he did. They made this huge prosthetic leg. The problem was he didn't have a whole lot of stump for it to put it on. He was like swinging the thing and he goes, this is more trouble than it's worth. So then he figured out how to do these, and you may have seen them. They've got you hold like a little handle here, and it kind of like supports the arm, and then it's like a
cane,
like
a cane,
crutches with the cuff.
Yeah, crutches. Yep.
Okay.
And that's what he uses. And he's made it work he's older than me, so he was 17 at the time, so 40 years, dude's making it work.
Yeah, and people who've had some sort of traumatic injury, like losing a limb from illness or injury or whatever, have to accept it, but also learn how to live with it, which includes problem-solving skills like learning how to walk again. Because if you're completely missing a leg, for example, and you've always had two legs up to that point, you have to go through the process of learning how to use a prosthesis or crutches or whatever to strengthen the limb that you still have. You can't do that by yourself.
No.
You need a team of people to come around you and give you support and teach you how to do it so that you can, make the best of the situation that you have. And I don't think mental health is any different.
Yeah.
Our team looks different. It's family, it's therapists, psychiatrists, friends, pastors, whatever, books, nowadays YouTube videos from therapists or whatever, and other things that you can do to try to accept your condition, but also figure out how to function.
Yeah. Where do I go from here? Now that I know it's real, what do I do about it?
Right. Yeah. And, you know, for someone like me, I have this chronic anxiety condition where I get pretty much triggered every day. I have near constant background chatter of anxious thoughts.
Yeah.
I have really strange ideas about things. Like, I don't know what things mean. I don't know what people want. And so I make up stories in my head about it.
Yeah.
Part of that is from, you know, things I experienced as a kid. So I'm trying to manage the stress of whatever's happening to me. And I make up reasons why. I usually blame myself. Shame is a chronic problem. And so what I'm doing all day is combating that sort of thing, managing spikes in stress, triggers, etc., so I don't become so disabled that I can't get out of bed.
Yeah.
That's the equivalent to me of someone learning how to walk after they've lost a limb or a leg, rather.
To work through your disability, and I don't know if saying overcome it is the right word, or phrase, but working through it maybe, or working with it, because you can't overcome a permanently amputated
I don't
limb.
know if overcoming is the right word, but managing it.
Managing
it in a healthy way.
Yeah, because you mentioned when we did the last recording, the YouTuber Footless Joe. She has now 2 disabilities. She has a missing limb because she had a leg amputation because of an ankle break that never
multiple
healed.
Injuries. Yeah.
And then she had a stroke from a accident while she was practicing BJJ.
Yeah.
So she has to figure out how to function and still live a life. Because when you become aware of the fact you're disabled, your life isn't over.
Right.
It is like you're getting deviated over here to this reality, but now you have to figure out how to live in that reality and still have a happy life.
Yeah.
Right. And learn to manage, like you said, your disability. And I think for me, one of the things that has helped, even though I'm struggling with wrestling with some pretty big issues right now, which is not a bad thing necessarily, but I think one of the things that's helped me the most, aside from therapy, is education. Is at least understanding why things happen the way they happen, why I am the way I am. Recently, been coming to terms with the majority of my life I've lived in fear. I'm not even sure what the fear is, or if there is a solid reason for it other than trauma. I haven't figured that out yet. But every decision I've made, big or small, that hasn't been a good decision has been based out of fear. And I couldn't tell you why. I mean, I couldn't go through every decision and tell you why. I just know that thinking back to years and years and years of this and not realizing at the time how much it was impacting me, because I was in so much denial about everything. And just realizing it now, like, I have to accept reality of where I am.
Well, let me ask you a question, Rochelle.
Sure.
If you're living in chronic fear and you're making decisions out of fear, how do you find that disabling? How does that affect you in a way that you would call it a disability?
That's a good question. Let me think about that for a minute. Well, it impedes my ability to function and to. I'm not
Well-
managing things well. I know that much.
Would you say that there are negative consequences to
Definitely. Yeah.
making decisions out of fear?
Yeah, for
And,
sure.
if that's a chronic problem, then that means that there's a lot of negative consequences in your life that you're
Mhm.
suffering through as a result.
Yeah.
Is that
sure.
fair to say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think Evelyn's got her own set of issues.
Yeah.
But I think it's fair to say that I think mental health issues in some ways could be more disabling than, say, I don't know, physical disability of some kind. I'm not, if you have a physical disability and you're listening to this, don't come after me. I'm not saying that you
Right.
aren't suffering or that you don't have
Right.
your problems or that
Right.
you're not experiencing pain. That's not what I'm saying. But it seems to me that, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there is chronic issues like maybe skin problems if you're using a prosthesis, inflammation, phantom pain, like Evelyn mentioned. Maybe that's true for people with, I don't really know because I'm not physically disabled, but I am mentally disabled. And I suffer quite a lot from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard it said by some, and there again, I don't have firsthand experience with this, but I've heard it said by those who have a physical disability that the mental side of it, having to come to terms with it, having to accept the reality that their life isn't going to be what they thought it was, that aspect was actually harder than dealing with the chronic pain and whatever the physical side of it was, because it wasn't as quantifiable. Like, okay, if I have a certain amount of pain, I can measure my pain. They have the pain scale. You're
Mhm.
making certain faces depending on the level of pain, and they can go, okay, what do I need for this? Well, do I need Percocet? Do I need whatever they have to deal with that? But the mental thing can be more difficult to quantify. And I think also, you could get a diagnosis, but we're continuing to learn what that looks like in our lives, how it comes up, how it impacts our ability to function normally. For me, I have a lot of shame, toxic, to a toxic level, and it flares up, and it can flare up. I could be going about my day and something will happen and I'll immediately feel that, that I've come to recognize as shame. And if I don't grab it, it can really pull me down, and people around me too, if I'm, treating them a certain way because of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, okay, I'm still learning. This is what it feels like. This is how it impacts my life. And I suspect more aspects will come in the coming years. It's not, okay, I figured it out. It's more, oh, this is another way that it impacts me and how I deal with the people around me and how I deal with life. I mean,
Right.
As recently as just before we got on this podcast, I was triggered by something in my PTSD that took what would have been a normal conversation, and it just ended up going in a weird direction, and I couldn't figure out why. And I was telling Steph, we were talking about it. I was like, yeah, this is something I need to bring up with my therapist, because it's another aspect that
Right.
it's part of the same disability, but it's a part that I hadn't really seen before. And now I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I feel like when it comes to mental health, mental disability, even after 35 years of recovery work, I still get surprised
Yeah.
by things coming up,
Yeah.
relatively new things that still happen. And yeah, maybe my comparison between physical and mental disability is not fair, probably not fair. But because I don't really know. I don't know what I'm talking about. Let's just to be honest, when it
Yeah.
comes to physical disability. I don't know what people like that deal with. I don't know what sort of physical pain they have. And if they have if they have mental health issues on top of it because of, chronic pain and acceptance and all that, then maybe they have it worse off than I do. I don't know. Maybe there's just no comparison. Like a disabled person is a disabled person and that's their own paradigm. I don't know. But I do find like myself shaking my head like, well, that's new.
Yeah.
Yeah. How long's that been there?
Right. Yeah. I didn't know that was a thing. And 35 years, 55 years later,
Yeah.
here
we are. Yeah.
still discovering things about myself, still, I don't know if I'll ever get to the bottom of it.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah.
That's another acceptance piece. Like,
Yeah.
when I talk to people and they're like, oh, just pray more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
Here's a
I
quick
would-
fix.
I wish that were. I had a chiropractor tell me once. I didn't stick with him much longer after he said this to me. I may have said this before on this podcast. Walking helps depression more than any medication could.
Oh, really?
I was like, well, if I thought I could cure my depression by walking, I'd be out there every day, walking miles and miles.
Yeah. Seriously.
Right? I think it helps if you've got garden variety. I'm feeling down.
Situational depression, but not
Yeah.
chronic trauma-based depression. Like, that's not going to
Yeah.
cure that.
There's no quick fix. There's no, here, just try this.
What? Did we do a podcast on that?
Yes, we
yeah.
There are
Guys, you
no
might want to
quick
look that one
fixes.
up.
Check
It's
it
a
out.
good one. It's a good one. But yeah, I mean that that factors in. You guys can watch that, come back to this one, or watch it after this. Hey,
Whatever.
whatever
Fine.
works for you.
Just watch both.
Rochelle, you want to jump in and say something?
Yeah, harkening back to what you said earlier about you went to you go to a therapist for a while and think you were healed and you're ready to move on. And man, I did that for years too, and in various forms, going to churches, going to therapy, people telling me that I could be cured, and I didn't even understand the depths of my trauma when I was in my 20s and 30s. So how would I expect someone else to understand, like, this is actually permanent? This is not going to go away.
Yeah.
And I talk a lot about how it's foundational if you're a child and you're suffering through complex trauma every day in some form of abuse or many forms of abuse. And man, it's overwhelming, to say the least. That's like an understatement. To think about, this is just, not only is it disabling, but it's also permanent. It is like losing a limb in one sense, or some other permanent illness, chronic illness or something like that you can't get rid of. You have to manage somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that a lot of people, I shouldn't say a lot of people, but there are people who believe their life is over. And I've had to fight that belief myself a lot through the years, that my life is over. Once I began to at least understand I had trauma and it's complex trauma, I thought my life was over. I really did. And I had that mentality, and probably still have it to some degree even now. And fighting that idea is hard, because it's like, you're telling me I'm disabled, but I can still do things. That doesn't really make sense to some people. Because you have to fight. And myself included in the statement, a lot of people want to fight. They want to give up, because it's easier to give up. And it's easier to be in pain. Even though it's pain, it's easier. Because you're basically picking your pain. Do you want to be active and trying to fight through it and trying to thrive in some way and manage your trauma, manage your dysfunction or your disability, or are you just going to choose to lie down and not die, but not physically die, but die in a way? Give up, basically.
Right.
And I don't know that I've actually fully overcome that idea, to be completely honest, yet. I think it's still there to some degree, because I feel that way often enough. I don't believe it anymore, but it's still a part of me.
Yeah. I think there's a longing to just be normal. I mean, people joke like, of course we're not normal. It's just the setting on the washer, the dryer, whatever.
Yeah.
But I think I don't want this. And it's like, oh, that's okay to not want it, but you still have it. So now we got to figure this out, and try. But yeah, I know some mornings I'm just like, really? Can I just not have to deal with this? But accepting
you don't have a choice.
Right. I actually, when I was at my lowest point in my mental health struggles, I did get to a point where I did give up. And at first, it's kind of like a relief because it's so hard to fight. But then what comes after, that level of depression and hopelessness is really hard to come back from.
Yeah.
And
it is.
That sobering thought, having been there, I know that I could go there again, which helps me to go, no, it's hard, but you're not going to give up because you know where that leads, and
right.
And the pain that leads to, the temporary relief is like 5 minutes,
Yeah.
But being able to push past that, I just want to be normal and go, okay, but what can I do today? How can I, what are my tools? What do I need to do? And it's not all doom and gloom, and it's not like our lives suck and then we die. I mean, they're still good. And there are still times where we go, that thing that was so big and awful and scary, it's still there, but it's not as bad as it was. Like we could still make progress. And then, of course, the new things sometimes come in, or sometimes it spikes, but it's like, there's that thing, but I've got some tools now, so we can make progress. Just like, my friend who learned how, even though he still has to deal with pain that he didn't have to, I'm talking about the guy who lost his leg. And he still has to deal with problems that come along with that. But he's also found ways to work with it every day, work with it. Instead of, I wish I had my leg back,
Well, I was just thinking, this thought just occurred to me while you guys were talking, that the way that people approach healing for chronic mental health issues would be similar to someone saying, let's rebuild your leg bit by bit. Let's rebuild your leg. Like, it's going to be there someday. You'll have your leg back, which isn't reality at all.
Right.
Or even, they'll even say something like, just as good as it was, even better.
Right. And that kind of approach, like trying not to think of yourself as disabled or, it's just a matter of time and I'll be healed, and it's actually worse than accepting that you're just disabled.
Yeah.
Because it sets up false expectations. Somehow you can be normal.
Yeah. That it is temporary.
Right. And it's not temporary. If God wanted to zap my brain and heal it, he could do that. He could make me, quote, normal, whatever that means. He could do that, but he hasn't. And no matter how many times I've gone to people for prayer, no matter how much I've talked about it in various settings, no matter what I've believed, I'm still here, disabled, struggling every day. Although I can say that I'm mostly functional most of the time.
Yeah.
I am going through things right now that are making things harder to get out of bed, to get up and do things. Like the last several weeks, except for the time I was in Japan, I did not want to go to church. A couple of times I didn't go. Like when I was packing for Japan, that felt legitimate. There's one other time I didn't
Yeah.
go because I just didn't feel like it. But this past week, I'm sitting in my room in my bathrobe, and I had like 25 minutes to get some clothes on and leave. And I was trying to find reasons not to go.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And yeah, sure, people go through that. Normal people go through that. But
Sure.
that could become a chronic issue
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
where it's about avoiding something
Mm.
Yeah.
because of my PTSD or my
Yes.
anxiety. And I have to be vigilant about that kind of thing and not let, like, if you have, let's go back to your friend with the missing leg. If he was using a prosthesis, he has to be vigilant about his skincare
Yes.
because you can get pressure sores, you can
Mhm.
get irritation. I mean, the technicians who make prosthesis try to limit how much pressure is on whatever the prosthesis is for. Try to limit irritation because, you know, when the skin starts breaking down, that might mean more amputation,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you have to be vigilant and you have to take care of yourself. And
Right.
I have to be vigilant all the time about decisions I'm making to do or this or not do that or whatever it is I'm thinking, saying weird stuff to people because I'm over anxious about something related to that person. Or I think I've had enough time under my belt that I do pretty well with
Mhm.
not giving in to my every whim. But the whims are still there.
Yeah.
It's still chronic. It's not
Right.
let up really. It's just that I don't give into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't know. It's tough because I can't. I want to give in to the whims. I want to give into the feelings. I want to give into the depression and I don't really have depression anymore, but like the despair, the hopelessness, the frustration, the anger,
Mm.
etc. I want to give into it. I want to just go, meh, fine. Screw you, life. I'm going to go in my room and not come out. Like,
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw a clip last night of the biopic about Ray Charles I saw many years ago. His mother, he was very young, and his mother informing him he was going blind. And she basically set a precedent of you don't have time for tears, and I'm going to help you. I will show you how to do something one time. If you mess up the second time, I'll show you again, but the third time it's up to you. The next part of the clip, he walks into their house and he trips on a rocking chair and falls on the floor. And he's only like 5 or 6 years old when he starts going blind, and he cries out, "Mama, Mama, I need you!" And she's in the kitchen cooking, and she doesn't say anything. She turns and watches him, and he's laying on the floor and he's crying for a couple minutes, and he gets up. He starts moving around, putting his hands out in front of him, moving around and feeling where things are. He walks over to where I think they're using charcoal or something like that, or wood, and he feels it. It's hot. So he's figuring things out on his own, and his mother's watching him, and she's like wanting to help him. But she set this precedent of tough love. You can't, I'm not going to give in to your whims, basically, like what you're saying about giving into your own whims. I'm not going to help you more than 2 times, which is hard for a kid. And at first I'm like, wow, that's really mean. But then I thought about it later. I'm like, yeah, but she's actually teaching him how to function in a world where he's going blind. And he became a great success, which I think he credited his mother for. And that spoke to me in the sense of like, we have so much more support than that. But that type of support helps because it teaches you to think for yourself and figure things out for yourself as much as you can. You definitely need therapy. You definitely need people to support you. But really, like, for myself personally coming into reality, I think toughening up and trying to figure things out in that way helps. And it's a healthy part of accepting that you have a permanent disability, a mental disability, or maybe many mental disabilities, and then going forth and trying to figure things out. Like, what do I need to do next? How do I make decisions that are not based in fear or panic or whatever, or anxiety, which is all essentially kind of the same thing.
yeah.
And how do I start my life doing the right thing where I am now? How do I accept that? That's what I'm going through right now.
Yeah.
And watching, a little boy struggling with being blind and his mother trying to teach him in a very difficult way because she loves him. She wants to help him, but she knew they were poor and she just wasn't going to give in to she wasn't going to coddle him, basically, is what it boils down to.
Yeah.
And she taught him how to function in the world in a way he needed to. And again, because of that, I think he became a success in singing and music and all that.
Can I talk for a few minutes about Japan?
Sure.
Because it relates to what Rochelle was just saying.
Okay, good. In that case, yes.
Yeah. So Evelyn and I went to Japan for about 6 days just a couple weeks ago, and it was for a martial arts seminar called Taikai. And I told my therapist today, I said, out of all the ways that you could have possibly have done this for my very first time, Japan was the most of everything. And I had some serious issues. Like, I didn't sleep very much the whole entire time.
Mm-hmm.
I had trouble walking because my feet and my legs got painful pretty quickly. I packed too much. My suitcase was heavy and I was trying to drag it around. And I'm dealing with physical pain while I'm walking and I'm dragging the suitcase. I couldn't go on the tour up the mountain to go see the grave of Tokugawa Ieyasu because my feet and my legs were too swollen and I had too much pain and I couldn't I hadn't slept. So what did that teach me? Well, we're talking about, I'm like giving myself the tough love in this. Like, if you're going to do this again, you have to train to do it.
Yeah.
Right? I have to walk more. I have to do more physical activity that has me on my feet for longer periods of time. I have to pack less. There's a bunch of, I have to figure out how to sleep away from home in a high stress situation. And the sleeplessness was related to the mental health issues because it was all mostly anxiety.
Yeah.
Like, my brain's chatter just wouldn't stop. I'd go to sleep early night, like 9 o'clock. I'd wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning and there was
yeah.
There was nothing upsetting going on, but I was disabled in a way that made, and so poor Evelyn, I think it was the first night in the second hotel after 3 sleepless nights.
Yeah.
I was breaking down, crying in the hallway on our way back to our room. I was like losing my mind because I was so tired and I was desperate for sleep, and it was making me super emotional. And that's kind of disabling. Like, I had to buck myself up and talk myself into going to training the next day because I really didn't want to. And it was like all day I had to keep talking to myself through staying focused, staying on task, doing what I'm there to do, and not give in to the pain because I had a lot of physical pain. It was 6 or 7 hours of training, like physical training on our feet.
Yes.
Moving a lot.
With short breaks and what was that, like an hour for lunch?
Hour and a half.
Than that, hour and a half.
Something like that, yeah.
But like 5-minute breaks before then, It's
there wasn't a whole lot of sitting down, but even sitting down was painful. So I kind of get what you're talking about when it comes to like tough love. And disciplining yourself, because I think a lot of mental health stuff is you doing all the work of disciplining yourself.
Yeah.
You are Ray Charles's mother to yourself.
Right.
Yes. That's really good. That's really good to think about. I was thinking too, as we go through this and as we're working on it, I don't know. I think this is something to think about more, but I think about if my life was really easy, the way I want it to be, it's easy for me to be kind of a jerk, to be judgmental, to be, I've got the answers. It's, I mean, I think about the way I was like when I was in my 20s before the mental health stuff really started to come out. I had so much like, I'm on top of the world. I got everything figured out. I'm a really smart person and
That's
I
just
can
being
help
in your
other
early
people.
20s.
Yeah.
But
That's
I
just being
think
in your
about
20s.
like, what if that sort of thing, like it, because hard stuff started to happen and I started to learn, and I also started to learn who I really was.
Yeah.
And I think part of this, we're coming out of denial. Oh, hey, there's another podcast we did. But and I still have to think about this, but having to be disciplined, I find it's spilling into other areas of my life where I would, to be honest, I like stretching. I enjoy stretching, but I don't like to push myself to do like too much running or a lot of physical stuff. I like to do it till I feel good, not till it's hard and going to actually build muscle and change my body and give me stamina, which I know I need, So that same sort of discipline that goes, all right, we got to accept the mental health thing and do the work. I need to accept that I'm in my mid 50s and I want to keep doing my martial art until I die. So there's this lady at work who's older, and she goes, you're going to be glad that you did the work now, because 10 years down the line, you're going to be reaping what you sowed now, is essentially what she said. And I was like, dang, she's older. She knows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, becoming more disciplined, it can benefit not just in our mental health, but like overall.
Yeah, I think what's important to realize is that if you're a Christian, I think the Lord can use what's going on for you as sanctification. You mentioned like you were a certain kind of way when you were younger, that may or may not be part of your personality. Which, everybody's got their specific issues. Like I'm quick
Right.
to anger. That's one of my specialties.
Specialties.
Yeah, but the discipline of self-control, for example, the Lord sanctified me through my pain to have more self-control. So I don't get as easily angered as quickly.
Mm-hmm.
At least partially because I'm so anxious all the time that it's easy for me to get in a fluster and get really upset.
Yeah.
You guys have seen me breaking down over a party.
Yes.
Overthrowing a party.
Yeah, I'm throwing the party and they're helping me and I'm losing my mind.
Yes.
Yeah.
And getting really angry at people for nothing.
Yeah.
But that's more of an extreme case, but for like everyday stuff, I could easily lose my temper. It's so easy. But the Lord's teaching me to be calmer.
Yeah.
Just in general, for my mental health sake. Like if I am like adrenaline surges don't happen as often as they used to. They still happen. But that's really if it's a certain kind of trigger. It's not every trigger. It's certain ones will set off and then I get upset and then I take it out on other people. And
yeah.
But as the Lord's working me through things, I'm getting better at not getting triggered so easily, but also just not letting myself all over everyone.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that I was going to say the abuse. That's not the word I meant. The disability can actually be a good thing in terms of helping you become a better person because of the
Yeah.
discipline of acceptance.
Mhm.
Right.
Uh-oh, am I summing up? Is it time?
I mean,
I think
it's
looks like
we're
it.
Been
at
54
54.
minutes. Should I
Well,
sum up?
Well, I
Yes.
don't. Actually, I was thinking. Now I forgot what I was going to say.
Go ahead.
Well, crap! I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, so you remember I talked about? I was kind of like, yeah, I got it all figured out.
In the last recording,
No, just a few minutes ago.
you said,
Um,
"Oh, you did that." I didn't
yeah.
hear that.
I was saying how when I was in my 20s, I used to kind of think I had it all figured out.
Oh,
and-
right. Okay.
Yeah. So I really don't like being humbled.
Who does?
Yeah, who does?
It's like, oh, I don't like it, but I know I need it. And I was just thinking of, what happened today, say just prior to the podcast and stuff. And while there's that temptation to go into the shame and self-flagellation like I used to, the temptation's there, but it's more like I can tell myself, this is something you need to work on. Everybody has things they need to work on. And this is something you can bring up with your therapist. And this is a way you can learn. And what I want is to not have to do that. But I also, every time I've done that, where I've gone, all right, I accept it. I'm going to talk to my therapist. I'm going to start to work on it. I make some progress at least. I'm not saying I fix the things, but it's worth it. It's worth the work, and it's worth the discipline, and it's worth the stopping myself and going, okay, receive it as it can be, which is an opportunity to grow and to change and to be a better person.
Yeah. I think the reason it's worth it part is worth talking about, because we're not just, oh, I got a disability, I'm just going to live my life and then I die.
Right.
Yeah.
Giving up.
Right?
Yeah.
I just have to live with it till I die,
Yeah, like
what kind of life
sucks.
is that?
Yeah.
We want to be able to enjoy ourselves, like have good relationships, have adventures, have things that we're doing that we enjoy. People just want to enjoy life, right?
Yeah.
Right. It's a very normal thing to want.
Yeah.
If you want to climb a mountain and you're missing your legs, that's going to be difficult, but it's worth trying to do.
Yes.
Because it's something you enjoy doing. It's something that gives you life.
And it's worth it. The whole process of there's some things I had to work through to get to Japan. And I remember my therapist saying, fight for Japan. And I was like, and that hit me in my heart. And I thought, all right, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go for it.
Yeah.
And it was hard and it was scary, the things that I had to confront and work on. But when I looked over at Steph, I'm like, we're going to Japan. And then while we're there, we're in Japan. And then we get back, we went to Japan.
Yeah, but while you were there, right, you had such an amazing experience you wouldn't have gotten if you hadn't worked through all of that.
Yeah.
Yes. And I carry it like the whole trip. I feel like finally coming off a jet lag enough to really start to, it's like a whole bunch of gifts were placed in my heart, and now I'm starting to pull them out and going, oh, I wouldn't have had that if I hadn't gone. Oh, and this over here. Wow. What if I had let my fear keep me from fighting through? And it it definitely involved my mental
fear.
It was almost debilitating.
If you let your disability be a reason why you can't do things, you're never going to enjoy life. You're never going to grow and have happiness and other things that you can have. I mean, it's limited to
Yeah.
a degree. Like I mentioned in the last recording we did that there was a documentary about a guy with no legs. I think he was born without legs.
Mm.
Who wanted to climb a mountain, and it was all upper body work. So of course he had to train for that. But then the time came and he did most of the work. I mean, he dragged himself up that mountain, but he had a team of people around him helping him. What if he had denied himself that?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like, seriously, like, he wouldn't have had that sense of accomplishment, that feeling of success, something to tell stories about. Like, if he had kids and grandkids, like,
yeah,
something to boost his mental health.
Yeah.
You know, all the benefits of doing things that you like doing. If you just let your disability hold you back, you're
Right.
missing out on so much life.
Plus, think about the impact. How many of us have enjoyed watching a story where the person starts out at a certain place and they have all of these, whether it's physical, mental, emotional disabilities, and it looks like, you know, how are they going to be able to do this? And then you see them do it. It's so encouraging. So when we realize too that people are watching us, they're seeing how we handle our disabilities.
Right.
And I want people to look at me and, I mean, not in a weird way. I mean, I don't want to be like, wow, look at Evelyn, you know? Oh, I'm used to that.
I looked down briefly, looked up, Stephanie's making that.
I'm looking at you in a weird way.
I actually kind of like that. But no, I mean.
Which one? This one?
All of them.
Oh, no.
Anyway, that's part of the reason why she's one of my favorite people. Anyway. And that bun too.
Never
anyway,
a dull moment.
Gosh, where was I going with this? But anyway,
I don't know.
Our stories can inspire others.
Yes.
And you know, you think about that guy who did that. I'm like, dang, dude. Normal people don't climb mountains a lot of times.
Yeah.
They'll be like, meh, I'm just not feeling it. You know?
Yeah. My therapist says, so you put yourself in situations where you're constantly confronted with things and have anxiety. And I'm like, yeah.
Pretty much.
I'm a woman and I run a dojo and I have 3.5 students.
I'm the half. Unless you count.
No, I'm not counting you.
Oh, okay. No, you're right. I'm the.
So Evelyn's a guest at my dojo.
I'm a guest.
Permanent guest.
Permanent guest. Not my student, though.
No, that's true. That's true. It's important to differentiate. No, the half is Liam, the little guy.
The little guy, yeah.
The 8-year-old.
Yes.
The looks of actually Arthur, or Albert, rather.
Anyway, you know, I have my 3.5 students, and you know, I'm trying to do this job with the level of anxiety that I have.
Yeah.
Without a manual, there's no one going, hey, this is how you do this job. There's no written materials. There's nothing. There's only experiences, and some of the experiences I had are like not great. So
yeah, this is what not to do.
So I have like a collection of things that I saw or experienced that I either chose to do or not to do. And I'm like, I'm not at all superstitious, but I'm like doing this, hoping, you know, that things will work out.
And crossing her toes too.
Yeah, and trying to like establish what I believe is right and like do the right thing and follow through on things, and like figuring out when to reach out and when to hold back. There's no guidance for that.
Right.
And when you have anxiety like I do, the very thought of taking an action one way or the other can be debilitating.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I might spend a couple of weeks bothering my husband, bothering Evelyn, talking to Rochelle, asking like 10 other people, what would you do if this was happening to you? Like, I don't know what other people do, but that's what I do. And I'm trying to like, and then like this
Yeah.
inside,
Yeah.
trying to figure it out and not lose my mind and not end up in bed for 3 days.
Right.
But what if I just decided not to do it because I'm too anxious?
Right.
Yeah.
I'd be missing out on all the good stuff, like when Evelyn makes up words in the
She makes
dojo.
up words.
Or
And we
And
come
when
up with a t-shirt
somebody,
that we-
yeah, and somebody who's worked really hard passes a test. Hint, hint. Looking at
looking
you,
at you,
Nap.
Bun Bun.
Looking at you, Nap.
So proud of the Bun Bun. Or
yeah.
when you teach something in such a way that one of us who is trying really hard to understand how to do the technique, and you give us something that's like, yes, thank you. I wouldn't have had it otherwise. It'd been something I was trying to figure out and trying to do. And she was like, hey, what if you looked at it this way? What if you tried that?
Mhm.
And, what if you had decided, meh, I'm just not feeling it?
Yeah, I'd be missing out on a lot.
And
of
so
good
would
stuff.
we.
And we'd be
So would
yeah,
we.
we'd be missing out on a lot too, because not every martial art teacher teaches the way you do. And
It's actually a good thing.
it's a
Okay.
good thing. Because
I'll take your word for it.
I mean, I haven't had experience with
My
many
anxiety's telling me I don't know. I'm kidding.
I haven't had experience with many other sensei, but I will say the ones I've experienced besides you, and it's not just because you're my sister and my sensei, it's because of the way that you teach. It's different. You're a lot more patient and you understand people's limitations.
Mm-hmm.
And those are all very important things that
Yes.
I don't think I would stick with. I've said this before. I don't think I would stick with it if it wasn't whether you're my sister or not, in this case is not relevant, because I would not stick with it if it wasn't for the way that you teach and the way that you conduct class. Because I have a lot to overcome and I'm trying to overcome, and I wouldn't do it if it wasn't for that, for the support of the people that are there and the way that you teach.
Mm-hmm.
Those two things together keep me coming back and keep me pushing, even though it's really hard most of the time. But it's also incredibly enjoyable too. So I would also be missing out if I wasn't pushing myself to go every week. And you know what? I wasn't there Saturday. I told everyone this. Oh, I worked day shift Saturday. Man, it felt so weird to be at work and not in class. Like I did not expect to feel like I looked at the clock for at one point it's like 8:15 or 8:30. I'm like, dang, I'm not in class right now. This is so weird.
It was weird for you not to be there.
I didn't like it. Like it felt strange to me to not be there. And it didn't feel like at all. It wasn't a normal Saturday at all. And it certainly felt that way. I didn't think of the impact I would feel until that time came. And I realized now as I'm talking about it that means something to me, because there are things, managing disability, learning to manage your disability, there are things that you, when, like you were saying, would miss out on and never grow as a person and be difficult for the people around you as well. Because if people are around you supporting you and you're just laying in your bed and being depressed and not doing anything, no matter what kind of disability you have, that's going to take its toll on other people. Eventually, they're just going to give up and walk away from you, because a person can only take so much of someone just destroying their life in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like they can only stand that for so long.
Yeah.
And I'm really sorry, my sinuses, because I've been crying. My sinuses are acting. I've had to mute a couple times.
Well, we're almost done. It's just Evelyn wants to say something though.
Like, I just want to make one more little point. Hopefully, we'll go too deep because we're running out of time. But when you have a disability, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, some combination of all of the above, I think that there's an understanding that you have, and you can recognize when someone else is struggling or when they need more than just to be told, well, just do it again or whatever. There
Yeah.
are times in class where Steph has recognized it sometimes before we have that we're struggling. And she'll go, do you need to take a minute? You know?
Yeah.
And someone who doesn't get it doesn't have that depth of understanding. And it sucks the process we go through to get to that understanding. But for those of us who experience someone who gets it, isn't judging us, isn't angry with us because of our inability to do what a normal person can, that's something that while we're praising my host, because I'm the guest,
Your supplemental sensei.
Supplemental sensei. She gets it. She gets it. She understands. And if I do have to take a few minutes and get myself, into the right frame of mind, she understands. She doesn't go, what's wrong with her? She goes, yeah, I get it. And when you're ready, come back. And, someone who doesn't get it, can't get it, I don't think at the depth that you can get it if you don't experience it yourself.
Yeah.
Right? So we're able to give that level of compassion.
Yeah, I guess if you're struggling with a disability, if you're trying to work through it, it does make you more compassionate because you're compassionate towards yourself, and then you develop compassion towards other people when you see what they're going through, which is very similar to what you're going through. And you can kind of say, hey, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that means a lot.
It can, definitely, when you're validated by someone else's perspective, it can mean a lot.
Yeah.
Because I've had a lot of chronic feelings of being the odd man out, the odd duck in the group, like the person who doesn't connect or but when somebody's like, hey, I'm like, oh,
somebody gets
Thank
it.
You.
Thank God.
Thank you.
I'm like, oh, thank God there's somebody who understands. Like, I'm not just a problem for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've experienced that. I'm a problem because I'm outspoken, or because I'm not getting what they want me to get, or because I ask too many questions, or I'm saying I'm anxious about something and they don't get it. Like,
yeah, they're like, okay,
why are you anxious about that? Like, what's wrong with you? It's like, how much time do you have?
And how can I, and even if you try to, sometimes if you try to explain, they're still kind of like,
I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't have a place to put that, and it's not really their fault.
Yeah.
But you also realize, okay, I need to.
If you see somebody in a wheelchair, you can't relate, and you're not in one, you can't relate to what it's like to be stuck in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Right.
Unless you go through that yourself. So it doesn't mean you can't be compassionate towards somebody like that. Like, I don't know. I've seen one too many videos on the internet of people harassing other people who are parked legally in handicapped parking spots. They're like, well, you don't look disabled. Like, who are you?
Right. You don't know what I go through every day.
Like, if I could get a legitimate disabled parking space permit because of my mental health issues, like, you would not be able to tell just by looking at me, that I was disabled and needed. I don't need one, but I'm just saying, like, you can't. Mental health disabilities are not visible.
Yeah.
At all. We don't walk around like
with a little sign above our heads with an arrow. She has complex PTSD.
She got triggered.
Don't mind her. She's just triggered right now.
Right. Like, I don't walk around like all the time.
It's on the inside.
No visual one.
I mean, that's how I feel inside, but I don't show it.
Right.
Most of the time, anyway.
Most of the time. Oh my goodness.
Shall I sum up since it's 1 hour and 14 minutes?
Yes, please.
I think we need it.
All right. So we're talking about disability. for mental health disability. We don't know anything about physical disabilities, so anything I said during this podcast about that, just ignore it. Except that I don't understand. You can listen to that. We can only imagine what that's like.
Yeah.
But we can relate to some of the principles, which is we have a chronic condition that causes us to be non-functional in a way that stops us from doing things that other people could do.
Right.
Could be that you are disabled in a way that you can't work.
Yeah.
Or you can't have good relationships, or any number of things. And part of the key to living with disability is acceptance, because if you don't have acceptance, what you have is depression. What you have is hopelessness and despair, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think anybody really wants to have hopelessness and despair, but people do.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a reason to live past the reality, then you're not going to really live.
Right.
And so accepting it also means disciplining yourself to learn to live with it and to manage it.
Yes.
And that's really what you have to do with disability, is just manage it the best you can. And some days are going to be good. Some days are not going to be so good. We have our own version of chronic inflammation.
True.
Yeah.
It looks more like getting triggered constantly and having intrusive thoughts all the time. Like, that's pretty much my problem. Or if you're depressed, you're chronically fighting the urge to just stay in bed or to avoid things, or not feeling like doing a lot. I have lived with that for a long time, so I know what that's like. But there's a lot to live for. That's one of the things I think is really important to say.
Yeah.
Like, you can do things despite your disability. It may be limited. It may be difficult to function in a way that gives you the fullest experience you could get, but you can get some experience.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Japan with my disability. I suffered, but I still got a lot out of it.
Yeah.
There's lots of things that make you grow and become a better person as a result of managing, disciplining yourself, giving yourself tough love, and, making the best of a bad situation.
Yeah.
So, if you have complex PTSD or depression or bipolar disorder or any of the number of things that are out there, ADHD, autism, whatever it is, it's a disability. Accept it and learn to live with it, and live your life to the fullest as best you can with what you got. Let people around you support you.
Yes.
Let them help you, because we're not able to do it on our own, to be honest.
That's right.
So, we want to encourage people to live their best lives despite what they have to deal with. Like, I can make 1,000 excuses why I can't be a dojo and teach people martial arts. I could easily do that. I have lots of reasons not to. But I find that the role is fulfilling, even though it's scary. Mm-hmm. It's fulfilling in a lot of ways, and it's worth doing. It's worth enduring the pain for. Just like the guy with no legs who climbed the mountain, I'm sure that was very painful.
Yeah.
You're dragging your body across rocks and up things. Gosh, that must have been so painful. But it was worth doing for him.
Definitely, yeah.
So did I cover everything?
Yep.
I think so.
Yeah. So anyway, we appreciate you listening to our ramblings, our thoughts,
our musings.
Yeah, and we hope that you got something out of it. If you are physically disabled, share with us what it's like, because we'd like to know. We only know what people tell us, what we hear on the internet, what we see in movies, TV shows, or whatever. We don't have it ourselves. Although Rochelle's got a chronic arthritic condition, So she might have some idea what that's like. But I don't think Evelyn and I really have any physical disabilities. But, share with us what it's like for you mentally, physically, whatever. If you have mental health issues like we do, that's disabling, share that as well. Like, we like to hear your stories.
Yes. Please share.
Also, share this podcast with someone. We want people to be encouraged.
Mm-hmm.
We want people to grow. Oh,
like, subscribe, tell your friends,
put
it on your social media,
hit all the buttons.
Hit all the buttons.
Hit all the buttons.
Yeah. I forgot about the dance.
No, can't forget that.
Yeah, look at us all disabled running a podcast.
What?
Who'd have thunk?
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for being on here, and we hope to see you next time. I'm Stephanie Dunham.
I'm Evelyn Mason.
I'm Rochelle Knapp.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Thanks so much for joining us as we discussed such an important topic. We hope you got some food for thought and encouragement to keep going and keep growing. See you later, Bear Club.